everyone, I'm Ghaleon from Poker Mania, and this time going to play 6 and 9 max sit and goes on Poker Loco. So tight opponent in 3 betting that I should be mostly set mining if I called here with the pocket 8, so pretty close I would say. And hopefully stream is working nicely. And on the bottom right we are on the bubble, so we should definitely be playing any 2 against middle stack. And actually pocket 9s here I would say it's pretty thin call, because he was quite big stack, I think, compared to that small stack. And queen do 7 pp. I think it's a bit too much. I could also limp that 7-8, but I think this opponent was pretty passive overall. And I'm going to be c-betting, and hopefully will enfold, because there's just so much cards that we don't want to see, and we can't really use it as bluff catcher. Let's limp with trap this time. I have been folding really often after limping, so let's balance it. Queen jack I'm going to be calling against. And then here I'm going to be check raising. There's just so big possibility that the board will get somehow ugly for, well, not that much for my hand, but for anything villain might have. So he might be willing to stack off with any pocket pair or any top pair, for example, here. But if some ugly card comes on the turn, it might kill the action. Seven queen, well, let's solve. And 9 queen, I'm going to be calling it on the marginal side, but should be okay against this guy. And no draw complete. I don't think there's much point in value betting, because he might take line like this with Jack, for example, and if he has busted draw, he's not going to be calling at least. And King 7 calling. In here we can do either way, either bet or check, but more often I want to be. This is actually a spot where I will raise him because there's so many draw possibilities. But when he folds that fast, I think he had pretty much air. I do have the Twitch chat here as well, so trying to follow that at some point. And there has been some message deleted, it seems. Probably posting some link that points outside of Poker Eye Mania. I think it wasn't allowed. Two opponents. Well, I could have c-bet here when I do have the King of Spade as well, but well, c-betting might have actually been a bit better. Both check in, so they don't really have. Problem, of course, when I check the flop and step now is that it does decrease my, or cap my range most likely, so that it's unlikely that I have like set or two pair or over pair or stuff like that. But I still think that when they both check so often here on the flop from the position and small out of position, that other guy checking twice, I think it's just so often that they don't really have much, and my step will work quite often. There was at least some tables which were actually pretty reggy. For example, this one. There's actually all of these players seems kind of reggy. Most likely this Peaka guy won't be that good from those statistics, but or they are kind of wild for full-handed. Even 6-max table. 5 pairs, but I think there is still nice value in betting against unknown, especially. pretty raw board, so C betting bit larger. And he's check raising, which is not that great, but definitely going to call. Now if he does bet third barrel, it's quite likely that I'm beat. Or at least it's a bit rarer to face 3 barrel bluffs in these pots, and that flop was offering quite few hands he might have that beat me. Of course, something that I might still beat is busted flush draw, but that should be pretty much it. Actually, kind of the only ugly part on this king queen hand is that I have 500 hands on this guy and he has been really tightly 3-betting, so but I think still that when this unknown guy calls, there's just so good pot odds. When turn goes checked, I think I have some value in betting river. Queen pairing wasn't that great. It's somewhat unlikely Villain has ace, but he definitely has multiple queens in his range. But now I do hit straight, which is close to nuts. I think it's quite likely that he will be calling if he has ace. It's unlikely he has queen when he checks the river. I could try to bet twice here. I think this guy likes to float decent amount of time. Just shoving. This is unknown guy, or I will try to stab. Against Rek I wouldn't really go for stab like that, because I don't think Reks are going to be check folding flop like that. But against unknown guy, I think it's much more reasonable that they might just check when they don't hit and let the bot go. And pocket deuces I'm not going to be open raising because there is two aggressive players with shoving stacks. not going to be great idea to open raise hand with no blocker value, and with hand you can't really be calling over 10 pp shoves with some ICM tax included. And pretty decent flop to be c-betting. I do have, like, for example, if 10 comes on the turn, it's pretty nice. Nice barreling card for me. And some other that might give, for example, cut shot and so on. And I think against unknown here I'm going to be betting again for value. It's kind of thin though, but I think they are relatively rarely going to be check raising here. And kind of dangerous line in a way that if we do face check raise or check shove on the turn, for example, it's kind of awkward situation. And in a way, against Reggie villains, I wouldn't be making that sort of line. Jack 8 is actually kind of questionable because these guys probably 3-bet decent amount, but I think they are probably bit too, still bit too passive. He might be trapping some portion of time, but a small stack, it's pretty nice spot for me to be. Making that shove. Well, that guy hit on the turn. Could have c-bet smaller, of course, on the bottom right, but had few actions to make. So when he raises the flop, he has total air most often, so I just check again and hope he tries to bluff, because I don't think there's huge amount of value in. Actually pretty weird in a way I think, pretty weird line to just call pre-flop with pocket threes and 10 making that sort of raise. Going to check the ace king and bet or call on the river, because there is decent danger that Will Lane does have that flush when calling on king 5-3 or whatever the flop was. Middle stack shoving here, he should have really tight range. I would have definitely called against small blind shove, but and deuce 8 is not going to be a shove, but it's quite often that non-regi players won't be calling enough. Well, let's just give up that bottom pair. And king 9 suited, I don't want to be raise folding. So shoving is going to be a pretty decent option with that sort of stack depth. And here from small blind, well, king queen is something I could be calling as well, but overall I don't really like to be using flatting that much out of position against those late position opens. So do I have too many tables, or I got leap call here with the king 8. But he has the nuts, basically nuts, for heads up 10 pp deep or whatever, bit over 10 pp. Is there value in check raising with the king queen? Let's just take that line. One pair aces are only likely hand that I might get value if check raising, but they might some portion of time even fold that, so and here we'll end potting against my nuts. Pretty nice spot to just flat, because basically he should be shouldn't be betting if he has set or two pairs, so there's actually pretty much no danger on any river. Ace is pretty much the worst card, but I think it's either check fold or bet fold. I was hoping he has some sort of non-A weak pair hand, like flop bottom or middle pair. He might hero call. But unfortunately he had that ace. And here it seems like he has most likely 3 or 9 or king high. Something to that. I could 3-bet shove here. I think it's in a way pretty decent hand because it's really rarely going to be dominated, and I can get huge amount of better hands to fold. And I think it was actually pretty loose call by the villain, considering that I haven't been 3-betting that much. It's on the hurry now with the actions. Well, do I want to bluff with the king queen because every draw has missed? So I think there is decent amount of danger that he will be snap calling with a high, for example. But if there was like flush completing, it would have been pretty nice spot to be. Looks like pretty stupid line. And middle pair with 7-6 suited in 4-way pot is not really something. Is not really something we are looking for. So I'm not going to continue. Not too active chat at least. Is there anyone watching? This guy has been pretty active and has been folding the 3-bets decent amount, so let's try to spew away a little bit. And he folds. Only ugly thing on that was that if blinds would have shoved, my pot odds would have been too great to really fold. But otherwise, I think it was decent spot to attack his cutoff open. This table as well seems to be pretty bad. There's no sidebot, so there's not huge amount of point in semi-bluffing, but at the same time my jack high alone can be decent amount of time best. And overall not that great flop with the ace queen. And he's leading. Jack 9 quite easily hits something people are most likely limp calling, so well, let's just fold. Yeah, there's not too much topics to talk about. There was open race, pocket sixes. Let's fold. the greatest of situation with the ace queen again, but if checking, it doesn't really open that great situation at either, and I think check folding is going to be kind of weak. Leading into three-way pot. Probably going to be a bit weak, but it's just that he really often has either flush draw that doesn't fold most likely, or he has me beat pretty much. And I don't really expect that much fold equity, so unlikely that he would be leading with total air bolt here. A bit aggressive players here, so H7 would start to be a bit questionable. Open race with that cello stacks. Not folding, and 5 is not going to be that great. The king, I'm going to try to value bet with small sizing here. Well, pretty nice flop. Or miracle flop, I could say. When you see that you are with baked for suited against pocket 8, it starts to look a bit crappy. And 10, 9, 12 pp deep with antis. Antis in play as well. It's basically always going to be plus EV. Plus EV to shove. And this guy seems to be folding to 3 bets really often, so let's try out. And he goes with huge 4 bet. And with exit suited, of course stacks are small, but there is decent amount of multi-hand equity is pretty great overall compared to that brief price we get. And we did have gut shot, but on that board I think there's going to be so little fold equity against Reki guy. Reki guy is checking that flop. Might even be that there might not even be any fold equity. Or it's going to be like really small. And when this guy 3x's with that sort of stack, he's probably not going to be folding. And it's going to be pretty expensive to call and hopefully see the flop. But then you have also the blinds who might be shoving over your call, so I don't think there's really anything else to do than just fold. It might be that when we didn't have any information that we would be have coaching even today, might be that there's not really that many people following. Some backdoor got shot. Let's call. If there was like club on the turn and villain would have checked, I would have tried to represent that. And flipping. Now the question is that does he? I think he's not going to be folding that much if I would come over here with the king jack, so I think there's much more merit in just calling. Of course, it is such sort of draw that we could I think I just check behind. Though it's questionable that when he check raises and then checks, there is some danger that he has not flush here, but I'm going to be raising, and if he comes over, no, don't fold queens. Nasty misclick. But if he had come over, I think there would be spot to even fold that second nut, and oh well, folding that pocket queen hand was pretty horrible. Oh, it happens sometimes. $300 might be even value bet with weaker hand, but he had hit the ace. Not everyone calling. Three-way pot, and can't really call. Might be that he's semi-bluffing, but that could be easily some sort of pocket nines or something like that. And here with ace-4, if I had ace-4 offsuit, I would have min-raise folded, but with suited ace and just 12 pp, it's going to be better to be open shoving. And he probably had, was it even aces? Yeah. Nasty timing. $150 from bottom. Do I want to just ship it in? Let's go. Has been raising decent amounts and seems pretty fishy. So I think it's okay. Well, that was pretty horrible flop. And when he continues betting in three-way pot, I think I just have to be folding. Kind of hard to see that he would be betting anything weaker for value, so I might still beat something like King Jack semi-bluff, but it might be that he wouldn't be semi-bluffing anymore against two people with hand like that, so not going to be great to continue. And against this guy, I think I go with the ace king suited. Not sure, does he have like ace 10 or something? Ace queen. to bet the turn and check most rivers, hoping that he doesn't lead. Seems to be quite 3-bet happy guy, so he would have decent amount of or enough stack depth to 3-bet, for example, small, and then I could shove over. Well, it's possible he has 10 here, but probably not going to lose to anything else. And nicely got him to bluff again. Probably hoped that I had some sort of drawing hand. Heavy action. Horrible flop. Well, against pot size bet, it's kind of nasty to start bluff catching. Probably not bluffing with that sort of line. Often enough, at least. And overall here, even when I check turn, I can easily have even good aces in my hand, because in bubble spot I don't really want to be building huge pots with mediocre type of hand. Might be that he shows, but bit too weak hand to really open soul, but has decent playability. I think there's more likely that I get value by betting again. And basically spot where in a way doesn't really make sense that he would be shoving king even if he had one. Because if I'm bluffing, why he would raise me here if he has king, but of course king is only sensible bluffing hand, or this value hand, I mean. But in my opinion, when he has queen, I don't see any reason to turn it into bluff either, because basically if I'm bluffing, queen is totally fine hand. So basically, well, he might get maybe some sort of AX to fold that tries to go for thin value, but pretty coordinated board. Someone managed to still just flat. Oh well, hitting two outer. And in these spots I sometimes like to see bet those bottom pair when it's so small, because it's going to be so easily sucked out if taking checking line. I could try small thin value against this guy. I might value down myself with that, but it's okay. Let's bluff cats on the turn. When he sizes it like that, it's probably not going to be bluff anymore and not that great. Not that great spot to bluff, in my opinion. Queen 5, well, it's actually a bit outside of Nash, but probably not going to be that horrible at least. And for her, I think I would be somewhat on profit. I would say. So have not been running that great in later part of this 9-5 suited. Well, on this session, is there a point to turn that into bluff? I doubt. I think it has decent amount of showdown value anyway. And hopefully ace queen. Split pot. I would assume that the button doesn't likely limp that much with AX hand, so should work decent amount of time, but he did call. if he's shoving Nash queen 4 is going to be on the borderline. And ace jack is going to be pretty much bottom of my range. Ranged here. Shoving 20 pp, I think he's most likely having some sort of small pocket pair big amount of time. So are those horse races how profitable for someone who is following those, or how much is it's about luck? I could start some super turbos and not register turbo speeds anymore. Well, when he limp calls that, he probably has king, or he's trying to float with something. So I'm going to check and try to give him rope. But he didn't bet, so let's bet ourselves. What size bet? Well, I might get him to fold some small pocket pair. Calling flop with 10-7 of hearts. Seems like pretty weird to me. Let's just check so that one. Nice flop for him. Could have 3-bet shoved pre-flop as well. And this guy seems to like to float so much that I'm decently happy to value bet flop. Well, queen high in a way is call for showdown value. Did he sit out or not? Well, there would be a decent amount of possibility to get him to fold those. Some of those high card hands he seems to like. Or not. Don't try to bluff this guy. Shoving Jack 10 suited with 0 fold equity doesn't look that great idea to me. Min 3 betting doesn't really make sense with pretty much anything. Just call and hope there's no fourth diamond heart, I mean. Okay, so it's pretty hard to beat those horse games. Let's try to 3-bet. Hitting nicely this guy. One more spade. Too much to ask. And made flush. Well, that suck. There was still like weaker king x, some flopped middle pair he might have easily hero called. Two really high VPIP guys, so I think they will quite easily hit that sort of flop 753. Hitting flush, but doesn't help this time. And these small AX and small pocket pairs, that sort of stuff is usually going to be best to just open shove. Let's try how he reacts to limping. And pretty easy to see that Villain is pretty visited. Or was it higher blind already? Might have been. I thought that he opened to 240, that it was still 151, 100 blind level. Well, 10-4 is Nash, so Jack 10. I think I just check. It's just that if I saw he's only going to be calling with better hands, but if I just check, I still have pretty nicely playing hand. And I was using that as bluff catcher basically. That if he had bet turn, I would have called. Was trappy min raise, but not really anything to do with ace 9 here. Well, it seems like there's no game starting, so 5 players on both. Oh well, now it started. Um, let's register into that other one as well. But these will be last games. There was actually, I thought that I had. Well, I will play these super turbos and probably cut. Or do you want to follow so that if I play this one turbo to the end and register some super turbos alongside it. I can do that as well. I thought that I had unregistered all the turbo games, but apparently not. Really fishy looking player, so let's call in that spot. Usually not situation where I would be calling because of the positions and short stacks in these super turbos. I think calling is fine because good amount of time king and queen will be out as well. And when there is this active button on the bottom right, I'm not going to be open raising with ace deuce off. But I think I currently have in my account around the same monies that when I started, so some profit anyway. It's kind of tricky to follow results in this site because tracker is unable to get any buy-in info or tournament results, or it actually, well, at least it doesn't get any buy-in info. That's for certain. And pocket fives I have to call against active player, shoving turn, and really great flop. Against regular, I'm not going to be shoving with 9-5 off. Had too big kicker. Ace is not really that great overall because they both can easily have AX and so on. I think I call still once and fold if when he sizes it so small. Ten 9 off. Pretty close because there is some reasons to make bit minus EV shoves because of the blinds hitting next hand. But I'm not sure, that might still be a bit too wide. Well, he really slow played that one. Yeah, well, for spray it, if there was type of player that if he had, for example, checked the flop when he was pre for aggressor, and I would if it's the type of opponent that I would have assumed to see bet with his flush draw, then it can make sense as thin value. So if I can assume that his range is going to be weighted toward weaker showdown value hands, but otherwise those descriptions sound like spot where check calling make more sense. Ace jack. Not totally sure of that one. Ace 10 I would have definitely folded. Then queen with average stack is going to be, well, it's okay with that 10 pp as well, but it's going to be really thin with 10 pp, but there's much smaller stacks mostly for opponents. So in here let's 3-bet with that ace jack. continues to pot. Well, there is some straight draw possibilities, but I think he more often probably has it. Well, I pretty much have to fold here because if he has flush draw, I'm pretty much flipping, and if he has made hand, I'm way behind. Ace 8 here. Not sure. Because when he shoves, his range is probably somewhat capped. It would be reason to call more, but could mark that one. Well, this guy has been limping and racing, so I think there is decent amount of possibility that he's going to be limp folding really often, or not when he has aces. But I think that is going to be true pretty often. But this is actually last game running, so if there's no, I'm going to be unregistering these games. So I think this was pretty much break-even session overall. But yeah, I can try to search that hand spray it was talking about and post it in my blog or something to see if there was any sense in the line or not. But yeah, thanks for watching, and good session if playing, or happy evening otherwise. There was actually question on the Twitch. What stakes I'm playing? Well, I have been playing basically this. In this session I played from 10 to 30 euros. Usually I play mostly 10 euros and higher ones. 100 is basically never running here, so sometimes there is 50 euro games running. And SNC traffic, it's decent around this time of day, like maybe probably around 3 hours from this point it will continue as decent, and couple hours before this time. But other times it has been really low, and probably in summertime it's going to be even lower than as usual. I haven't been playing that much myself. Summertime. But yeah, these, and mostly like 9-man turbos, they don't really run. It's usually 5 or 10 euro games that might start, and 9 max super turbos are not running either. But these 6 max super turbos and turbos are running decently. Well, in here I actually just bet half pot. In a way it's drawy, but when thinking his range it shouldn't be that nicely hitting. And now we hope he has flush. But yeah, I'm going to quit the session now, so bye for now.